Hello and welcome to Locked On Women's Basketball. I'm your host, Howard Megdal. I want to thank you for making us your first listen every day. Over 250,000 of you showed up in November alone, the way we show up for you 6 days a week. And of course, it is not just me, it is the incredible team across the country at the Next. At thenexthoops.com, we have over 100 reported pieces every single month. Make sure you're subscribing. $9 a month, $72 a year gets all of them right to your inbox about the past, present, and future of women's basketball, thenexthoops.com. And it is a place where we have had the privilege of covering Courtney Williams in so many different contexts. It's always a joy to be able to talk to you. Courtney, there's a lot to get into. In segment one, we're going to talk about this incredible 2024 WNBA season, but there is no offseason for you, and there's big plans ahead to come as well. A huge congratulations for what you've gotten to experience and finding love as well. Welcome
Thank
to
you.
the show for all of these reasons and more. I want to start just by asking you, what are kind of the biggest moments you keep going back to in your mind and flashing back to as the most fun you had during this 2024 WNBA campaign for the Minnesota Lynx?
Oh man, I think first off, thank you for having me.
Sure.
But I think the first thing that comes to mind is the Commissioner Cup. I think
Hmm.
we just like obviously nobody had us winning the Commissioner Cup. I think we shocked so many people. And then obviously our run in the playoffs. Like once again, I don't think nobody really had us making it that far competing in the way in which we did. So I think those two are definitely the highlights of that 24 season for sure.
When did you know? And you are no stranger to teams that are making deep playoff runs, and this team
Right.
came, obviously so close. When did you know that this team had it in you to be this good?
Honestly, I think I knew during training camp.
Hmm.
I think just our vibes, the way our chemistry was building, you kind of know right out the gate, like, well, for me personally, you kind of know right out the gate, kind of like people temperament,
Mhm.
um, the way they approach the game, and I think all of us just had this certain type of feel of like we all want to win and it doesn't matter how we get it done.
Mhm.
Um and I think that was our biggest thing, obviously from the top to the bottom, with our coaching staff, with our training room. I think we all was just on the same page. And we all are just coachable. From the top to bottom, I think we all just want to be better and we all just want to win. So whatever that looks like, I think we all are just open to that.
There's a few areas I want to get extra nerdy with you if I can, if you don't
Talk to
mind.
me.
And
I
and
got
and
you.
I got to talk to you first about your ability to finish at the rim. And just,
Mm.
to kind of put it in context a little bit, I've had the privilege of covering you dating back to your South Florida days, back to your
Mhm.
college days. And something that's always been this obvious separator for you is your verticality. And it's
Mhm.
something that showed up in college, it showed up throughout the pros. It is not typically something that allows you to improve on finishing around the rim as you become more of a veteran. I mean, you've seen it. The general veteran arc is, that you move a little further out from the basket. That's not
Yeah.
what you did here. You shot 76.9% around the rim. It was a
Oh, yeah.
career high in 2024. Talk to me about how you went about doing that and whether that was a primary area of focus for you coming into the 24 season.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I didn't know that. That's probably why Cheryl was trying to push me to take more layups. But honestly, nah, I think it's just what is open for me. It's not something that I even think about. I mean, I think more about getting into my mid range.
Hmm.
But as you make those deep runs, people take away the things that you're most comfortable doing. So obviously my comfort is getting to my mid range. So that starts getting taken away. So now I have to adjust in different ways. And I think honestly, finishing at the rim is an adjustment for me because that's not my go-to. If I could just stay comfortable and stay in my pull-up, that's what I would do. But like I said, as teams continue to scout you and they start wanting to make you feel more uncomfortable, they make you do different things. And I got different things in my bag. So, I had to refer to finishing at the rim. But that's crazy because I didn't know that
Yeah.
that's what my percentage was at the rim.
It's astonishing, and again, like it's sort of reverse of what you typically see, right? And
Facts.
I mean, I go back and look, and I've covered this league a minute, and to me, the two best mid-range shooters in the history of the league are you and Cappy Pondexter. Like, though,
That's
you
my
are the
favorite play. That's
two.
one of my favorite plays.
So I was wondering, like, and Cappy is. I've never asked you this for some reason. Is Cappy an influence for you when
For
as you're coming up?
sure. Yeah, I say that all the time. People ask me who my favorite player. I always say Cappie
Yeah.
Pondexter. I think just her size, her having the tattoos, her kind of being unapologetically herself, like that's just kind of like if you see it, you can believe it, you can be it. And I think seeing her do it, definitely motivated me for sure.
For you specifically, though, your mid-range is as efficient as it's ever been. And
Hmm.
again, you look at the numbers, you're getting those shots, you're getting them when you want to do it, but it
Hmm.
isn't necessarily something that people are able to do to say, oh, well, I will, when they try to take away the mid-range, go to the rim more. How much does
Hmm.
this offense that you guys are playing in allow you to do? Whether it's the gravity on the court that
Hmm.
Napisa Collier brings, whether it's,
Yeah, yeah.
that Lana Smith can, step outside and that opens up the lane more. Do you feel like there's a greater freedom of movement since you got to Minnesota because of it?
Oh, for sure. I think you hit it right on the head. When you have so many threats around you,
Hmm.
everybody around me can shoot the basketball. Everybody, Bridget Carlton, Kayla McBride, Nafisa Collier, like you said, Atlanta, bringing T off the bench. Like we have so many different shooters, so it does just open up the floor. And it's like, okay, if you drive and everybody wants to crash in, boom, you hit a shooter. Now that defender is thinking, okay, I can't do that. Or now you thinking, okay, I gotta pick a poison. Am I about to come help or am I gonna stay on the shooter? So I definitely think that having the players around me, our offense, our chemistry definitely made the game easier for me for sure.
It's so interesting too, and before we get off of the mid-range, because I just think it's such a zag when people are zigging, and we living in this
Yes.
time. We've seen a couple of coaches who just got hired
Right.
who you look at the shot charts of the teams they came from. Carl Smesko when he was at FGCU, and Lynn Roberts when she was at Utah. And
Mm-hmm.
there's something like between 1.6 and 3.5% of the total attempts are from
Mm-hmm.
mid-range of their entire team. And now you compare that to what you just did this past season. 46.8% of your attempts came between 16 foot and the 3-point line. And
Mm-hmm.
there's analytics people who will tell you, oh my God, you can't do that because you're not going to knock those down. Well, you do. You
Right.
hit 46.8% of those attempts. I mean,
Right.
it's a high percentage shot for you. Has that always been the case? And what allowed you to kind of take another step forward? Because that's A, the most you've taken from that range in your career, and the highest percentage yet that you've made. You somehow built on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, just having so many basketball minds around me, getting in the gym, being held accountable. I think being with the Minnesota Lynx, like it's it's like I can't be the weakest link, right? And and it's like I take pride in that. Like my teammates around me, they show up every day, they locked in every day, they want to win. So it's like I can't be our drop off. So that means now. I got to get in the gym. Now I got to work on my basketball IQ. Now I got to figure out what spots. Cheryl and her coaching staff is so big on um, telling me my percentages in different spots on the floor. And I've
Mhm.
never had that done before. And this was the first time where I was told, all right, your mid range in the corner is 38. So you might need to come right here to the elbow where your mid range is 50%, right? So I think just hearing those numbers, because I'm a nerd too when it comes to numbers. I love hearing numbers because now I'm knowing, okay, I'm the most efficient in this spot. Okay, maybe I should think a little bit more about taking it here. And Cheryl's so big on just letting me know where I'm the most efficient in different spots. And I think I was a lot, like super mindful of that when I was playing. Like, all right, I know that's my kill spot. That's my kill spot. Okay, I make the highest percentage at this place on the court. So I think just knowing those numbers and knowing where I'm the most efficient, I think that definitely helped me. Now, obviously, I got to play the game, but if I can get to those spots, I'm more intentional about getting to those spots.
And it's such an important thing to note. You
Hmm.
could say, oh, three levels, right? At the
Yeah,
rim,
for
mid
sure.
range, and beyond the arc, but it's so much more complicated than that. And so I'm so glad you're talking about that because you have always known where those kill spots are. All right, we're going to get more into in segment two your work as a point guard, specifically talking about
Hmm.
that. I want to talk about Unrivaled and what's to come as
Hmm.
well in terms of your off season and the fact that again and we've talked about this, I know, in different interviews, but like you're creating a new paradigm for being a basketball superstar here. So a lot more to come to. We got to get into that in segment two, segment three. Courtney Williams here. I'm Howard Megdal, and you're listening to Locked On Women's Basketball. Locked On Women's Basketball is brought to you by FanDuel, and the NFL playoffs are almost here. Not for my Giants, but for the real teams. But it's not too late to get in on regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Again, $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bets win. Just visit fanduel.com today. That's fanduel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And we're back, Locked On Women's Basketball. Howard Megdal here, joined by Courtney Williams. And Courtney, when we talked to Cheryl Reeve in the days after you signed in Minnesota, she talked about the fact that she was able to see you as a primary point guard, a primary distributor, based on
Hmm.
what you did in Chicago the year before. You have come out there now. You just played your second consecutive season of 40 games plus a postseason where you went all the way to the maximum fifth game of the WNBA Finals. The
Hmm.
numbers got better the more you were out there. And you have turned yourself into a player who, and Cheryl made this point during the finals, when we were talking to her during the shoot around, I want to say between games three and four, that it's changed your trajectory as a player being a point guard and what that means for you as you move into the next dozen years of your career. And I
Hmm.
refuse to think it'll be less than a dozen because we gotta cover you for a while. All of that as preamble, right? How much is that your own decision making of like, I want to become a point guard in addition? And how much of this is just the opportunities to get you the chance to do what you've always been able to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly is the opportunity more than it being something that I wanted to do.
Hmm.
Like you said, I think in Chicago, that's what we needed. And I'm just one of those players where it's like whatever the team needs, like let me give it a try. Let me see if I can be what it is that the team needs in this moment. And I think that's just kind of how it played out in Chicago. And it's kind of crazy because when I went back into free agency after playing in Chicago, I'm thinking I'm going into free agency about to get picked up to be a two guard again. And then Cheryl called and she was straight up like, we want you to be our one.
Hmm.
And I'm like, what? Why? Especially because at the time it was so many point guards kind of on the market, like traditional point guards. So I'm like, why do you want me to be your point guard? Like, and she basically told me like, we see potential there. We feel like it's things that we can help you with that really have you be our lead guard. And she was just straight up. She told me what she wanted, what she needed. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Like, let's get it done. But obviously in that same breath, still thinking I would be more 1-2 combo guard. But I'm like, all right, we gonna see how it play out. And then when I got there, start running the one a little bit, Cheryl was like, man, you might as well get the two out your mind. You a one now. Like you need to she was like, you need to gonna wrap your mind around the fact that you are a point guard now. Like this is gonna be your position. So I think just getting more and more comfortable in that position. Like I said, having a great basketball minds around me, just helping me every step of the way. I definitely think it made me, like you said, it kind of changed the trajectory of my career because I think yeah, starting, I think I have that scoring mentality already because I've been a two guard my whole life. And I think now I'm kind of just breaching the surface of facility. I mean, I obviously I was always a good passer, but I think
Yeah.
now, like, thinking pass first. And I think as you saw, as the playoffs got more and more harder, is where you saw I kind of got into my scoring bag a little bit more. Um, so yeah, I think the possibilities are endless, man. Like I'm excited. Like I think I had kind of got to a point in my career where I was kind of like comfortable. I was like, man, what else can I do at the two? Like
Right.
I've been scoring all my life, like, and it's like now it's like a whole new world have been opened up for me. It's like the ball is in my hand majority of the time. I can call my own number whenever I want to, but I also have like other players around me that damn near depend on me. Like they
Hmm.
depend on me to get them the ball where they need the ball. They depend on me to call certain plays to make sure that they're effective in our offense because I'm the extension of the coach. So I think now is just a different type of game that I'm playing, and I'm excited about it, man. I ain't gonna lie.
I mean, the excitement is evident and obvious,
Yeah.
and it shows up in the numbers too. And again, I don't feel like there was enough attention. I never know how to properly measure that. There seemed like a gap in attention between what you did and what we heard about. And assist percentage is one of my go-tos, right? Where you just say, all right, take pace out of it and you say, how often are you converting on the opportunities to create your shots for others? And just this past year, just want to go through the leaders, right? Number one in assist percentage, Alyssa Thomas. Number two, Caitlin Clark. We heard a lot about both of their passing this year. You're third. You're right ahead of Natasha Cloud, Skylar Diggins-Smith, and Sabrina Ionescu. Like that's the area you're in. You're surrounded by people who are lead facilitators for this team, their
Mm,
teams that we've heard about for a long time, and you're doing it at that level. You also did it without turning the ball over too much. Your turnover percentage went down compared to Chicago. Your turnover percentage went down to 17%, which is elite for a point guard. So I guess my question for you is, was there a moment in time, Cheryl brings you there to do that, where you said, wow, this is really where I ought to belong doing it? Did you have a particular game where you came out of it saying, this is right, this is the right fit?
honestly, I didn't have a particular game. I think just after the season, I think us just
Hmm.
making it to um where we made it to, I'm like, damn, I'm kind of good here.
That's a bit of an
Like,
understatement.
you
Yes.
make it to game five in the finals, and I'm not a traditional point guard, and it's kind of like we made it here. So it's kind of like if it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. So, and like I said, I,
Yeah.
I feel so many areas where I can grow, and I know I'm going to grow because it's like this only my second year doing this, and
Yeah.
like you said, I'm putting up numbers with some of the top people in the league.
Sure.
Um, so like I said, man, I don't know. I'm excited to. I think that chip back on my shoulder again. Like it was gone for a little minute because, like I said, I had got comfortable at the two spot. But I
Hmm.
think now, like with just like I'm a fiend for learning. Like I want to learn. I want to like soak in all the information. I want to be one of the best when I'm doing it. And it's like as I transition to the point guard position, my favorite player becomes Chelsea Gray. So now I'm watching her clips and I'm like, man, I gotta like how this girl seeing this. Like, and then also finding her balance of scoring a basketball too. And I think like that's where I want to replicate her game. I want to be able to get everybody involved, but still be able to understand when I need to call my own number two. And that's what I'm kind of still learning. And that's why I'm excited to master that balance of okay, this is how I get my teammates involved, but this is also how I call my own number. So I'm excited, man. Like I said, I'm just ready to keep learning.
It's so cool to see. I do. I just, and this is a point of personal privilege. I have to point this out. Like, it's just ridiculous that you're saying, "Oh my God, I'm gonna go be Chelsea Gray," and then you put up numbers like Chelsea Gray did right away. Like that. that's not normal. That doesn't happen. But I do, and it reminds me so much. I remember covering a game of yours back in college, and the 2016 season, UConn so thoroughly dominated that you'd talk to players post game and they would come in and they were just utterly demoralized. And
Mhm.
you were not. And you were going
Nah.
to go do what you were going to do, and nothing stopped you. And I just remember talking to people about it in the lead up to the 2016 draft, where it's just like, no, she's built different. And you're seeing it again and again. So I guess no one should be shocked by it, but it is incredible. Before we get to second break, I just, you have done so many things in this game and you have come so close to a title. And
Mhm.
I've seen the way you put your heart and soul into this game is infectious with your teammates. I've seen you at the cusp. I've covered you in two game fives now of the WNBA Finals. What do you do emotionally to kind of recover from that and move past it? And was this one easier or harder than the last time that you did so?
Yeah, nah, this was probably the hardest one I ever dealt with.
Yeah.
Probably definitely the hardest one. I think this one definitely getting close to that 2019 loss. Cause it's like it's right there, right in your grasp. And it's like, you know, a couple different decisions in the game, obviously from myself, because you always think back on what I could have done, what could I have done differently, what pass could I have made, what shot could I have made, different things of that nature. But I think to answer your question, you just put a chip on your shoulder. That's how I always been. Like I just put that chip on my shoulder and let it sizzle. And that's what's gonna carry me. And that's what's been carrying me. And I think that's what's gonna carry our whole team, man. That one hurt. Like this last one, it hurt, man. It hurt all us because we all felt like we had everything we needed to win it. And I think it made it even. It's like twisting twisting it a little bit more on us because nobody expected us to be there. So it's like, all right, we gonna really shock everybody when we come out and win it, kind of like what we did with the Commissioner's Cup. So
Right.
I think that's what made it sting a little bit more. But again, like New York had their motivation losing to Vegas. Now we got our motivation, right? So now I think we just take that loss and, like I said, we just use it as motivation, put a chip on our shoulder, and I think that's what's gonna fuel us for next year.
And let's just be clear about it so everyone understands. I mean, that was a series that comes down to a single possession, game
Literally.
after game after game. That New York won. Nobody came out of that series saying, well, New York is clearly the better team, any more
Right.
than, to be frank, that if you guys had prevailed by a possession, we said, well, Minnesota's clearly the better. I mean, that was as even a series as we have ever seen in the history of the WNBA Finals. So,
Yeah.
and
And it's
now, can
crazy
you?
because some people were saying like it was gonna be a boring series. Like everybody, the problem is that everyone wants a narrative. Like everybody, for real. And I
uh,
get it. The storytelling is a great part of the game. So I understand the narratives of trying to create the drama. I do get that because everyone loves drama. But I think what we did was so special because it was no narrative. It
Mhm.
was literally just great hoops. Like every game was a great game. And I mean, I'm blessed to be able to be a part of that type of series because I think no one expected that series to be as good as it was. But we knew that we wasn't about to get stumped. We knew that. And I think just waking the world up to that and everybody being like, damn, like you can win. Like y'all can win as a collective. Like y'all can win. Y'all been showing this all season long. And now we get put on the biggest stage ever. And I think we woke a lot of people up. So like I
I
said, I'm excited for next year for sure.
I won't claim to have been able to predict everything about the future, but I did come in saying this one's going to be real close, and even I didn't know it would be down to the final because we've never seen that, just the final possession
Yeah.
games, throughout two, three, four, and five, and it was just amazing. Well, all right, so back in segment three in just a moment, want to talk about your off season, which of course is no such thing for you, but Courtney Williams here. I'm Howard Megdal. You're listening to Locked On Women's Basketball. Locked On Women's Basketball is brought to you by GameTime. I love going to live events, whether it's sports, music, or theater. One of my favorite memories was attending a concert last year, hearing Samara Joy, the great jazz singer, in person, the energy, the excitement, the feeling of joy, seeing my family experience. It was unforgettable. Now, Game Time has made it even easier to get tickets for your favorite events with their new feature, Game Time Picks. This feature filters out the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. And now, when you download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Locked On NBA, you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Why, it's game time. Back here in segment 3 with Courtney Williams, I want to talk first and foremost about how you decided what you wanted to do in this offseason. You have stability, security, you're under contract in Minnesota going into 2025, so you know what your WNBA next year looks like. So just take me through what your thought process was.
Yeah, I mean, it was between going back to China or trying to figure out some type of basketball in the States, honestly. And then Fee and Stu, they popped up with the Unrivaled. And it's a great opportunity, man. They giving out money like going overseas.
Yeah.
And that's just really the reality of what it is. You try and make as much money as you can in the greatest possible situation that you could be in. And for me personally, that ended up being the best opportunity for me. So I'll be in Miami, man, at Unrivaled.
I mean, it just strikes me that throughout your career, and again, I'm sure to you too, like it feels like just yesterday when you're entering the league. Well, we think about what the league was like in 2016 and the opportunities. And now here you are as an ambassador for Moolah Kicks. And we've talked about this before on the show. And just to reiterate, like it matters so much that there are sneakers that are built specifically for women. And this is not a paid promotion. This is just basic reality that like if you build sneakers that are best for women to play in, it makes a difference. And I know you and I have talked about the comfort of it. I've said on the program, my younger daughter is a hooper at 10 and she's playing and she's the most comfortable she's ever been doing it as well. But for you, you get to be a public face of a a product for women in basketball, while at the same time, you're going to be on national television starting in January. Forget the money part of it, although that's a very big deal. It's not the money in exchange for less visibility. You get to have all of those things. Did you think when you got to this league that these opportunities could happen? I know it's been a long time coming, but this fast too.
Yeah, I mean, it's unheard of. I think that's just a testament to how the game is growing. I mean, we all knew it would get here.
Yeah.
I think now we're seeing the fruits of our labor. And like I said, I'm just happy that I could be a part of it. I'm happy that, because there's so many other people that deserve this, right? It's so many other legends that, laid down that foundation for us to be able to have these type of opportunities, right? Because like you said, 2016, I would have never thought that I would have been in the States making six figures on an off season playing in Miami. Like that's insane. You could have never told me that in 2016. So like I said, I think it's just again a testament to where the game is going, and it's gonna get bigger, it's gonna get better, and people are gonna continue to invest. And the ones that's coming after me, gonna get to see even more, right? Have even more opportunity, man. I love that for them. Like I love it. I love everything about it.
It's so gratifying to see. It's especially, and just one final point of personal privilege, gratifying to see you who has been doing so much grinding on this to try and get the game to where it needs to be, that you get to partake in it during the course of your career. Courtney Williams, always delightful to chat with you. So excited to see what's ahead. To our listeners, I want to thank you for making us your first listen every day. We will be back with you, of course, tomorrow, and we will, of course, continue to cover all women's basketball over at the Next with dedicated reporters on Unrivaled, and of course, taking you through the fun off season. We have our Minnesota beat reporter, Terry Horseman, as well. So until then, I'm Howard Megdal, wishing all of you a wonderful day.